Oh, hi there. Didn't hear you. I was just so busy working on my next lesson plan. Have you ever struggled with trying to get your kids to work together, but sometimes can be chaos when you have them work in groups? I used to too, but then I started using cooperative structures and it has made so much of a difference. I'll tell you more about it.
If you're an avid TikToker, this clip may look familiar to you. What you envision teaching being like to what actually ensues in your classroom every day. So what do we do about this? You're working so hard, doing your best to plan for your students, but at the end, they're not meeting the objectives. Well, here's what I hope to get through in this video today. I hope you're able to define what cooperative learning looks like and some strategies to help support cooperative learning in your classroom. So what is cooperative learning? Let's go through the basics of what cooperative learning looks like in a classroom. First, individual accountability. Then positive interdependence, promoting interactions, effective interpersonal skills, and group processing.
Oh, there you are again. You caught me again working on my cooperative learning lessons. Data is super important. I'm planning one of my next lessons right now for my secondary students, and I'm starting with data. Data is what drives everything with cooperative learning.
It all starts with data. We always think about grades as a way to determine students' knowledge, but really, when we're developing cooperative learning lessons, we need to know standards, which is something that we don't always think about from the secondary level. I love this picture because it really depicts the difference between how grading looks like and things in our everyday life. For example, when you go to get your car taken care of, you don't just get a grade, you get a breakdown of individual standards. In a classroom, the key to this is to know where your students are on specific standards and then group them accordingly. This is a Kagan cooperative setup. If you're familiar with Kagan, you might know the number system, which is based off of a 1, 2, 3, or 4. And you can do this in a variety of ways. But basically, you would group students based off of certain standards so that you have students that are paired with somebody who is on a similar level as them. This might be putting a student who is very proficient with someone who is approaching proficiency near one another so that they can work together. This might also put struggling learners together with another emerging student as well. This is so that they encourage one another and also have someone who is at a similar learning ability in that particular standard near them. This avoids students who are the top performers doing all of the work while the struggling students do nothing. So where to start with seating? Here are some options. Notice the bottom right-hand corner where this is row traditional seating. You can still do cooperative learning with students in rows. Now, where do you start with structures? Here are my favorites. The first one I want to talk about is find someone who. Now, a key component to cooperative learning is to also build teams. So this is an example of find someone who that you might do in content. So this is a math example where everyone has this grid. It's like a bingo grid, and they have to find someone who has that answer. It's great for reviews. Now, on the team building side, this is an example of just finding random facts about students. It's a great way for students to get to know each other, especially in the beginning of the year or a new semester, and it helps the teacher get to know students as well. I love doing a round robin. A round robin is when students are in small groups, you put a timer on, and everyone has to respond before the next person goes. So this is great for brainstorming. You could have a whiteboard, everyone writes down an option, and then you hand it off to the next person until the timer goes off. Another favorite of mine is Think, Pair, Share. A lot of teachers use Think, Pair, Share, but it's all in how it's done. This is a great way to start a lesson so that you could get informal data on students. It requires everyone to think of an answer to share with someone, and just to share with one person, it's less intimidating. That person receives that answer, and then it's shared. And you can do this in a lot of different ways, but it's important that you give students the amount of time, who's sharing first, who's listening, and what they're doing with that information to make it successful. Now, going back to our social media theme here, I hope that by the end of this, you don't relate to these memes as much as now this meme. Thanks for watching.